Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and this one should get you quite angry. We know the likes of Liz Lloyd and Stuart Nicholson. These are the special advisors that Nicola Sturgeon used when she was FM. Now, these are special advisors, what's known as Spads. They're there to advise politically. They're not public servants. They're not government employees. They're there at a party level to advise the people in the party about how to do their job properly and how to do this and that and the other. They're not civil servants. They're private individuals employed by the parties in order to do what they want to do in Parliament, because the people employed, the actual politicians themselves, aren't very good, as we know. They're fairly stupid, most of them. And so they have to employ these other people who are slightly better at their job to make sure that they don't screw up too badly. But again, this should be at the expense of the party, not out of the public funds. And yet, when Humza Yousaf took over, he got rid of a few of these Spads and he had to pay them out. Hundreds of thousands of pounds in golden goodbyes, as they call them. Thank you, your services aren't needed anymore. Here's several £100,000. Not out of his pocket, not out of SNP funds. No, it comes out of public money, your money, taxpayers' money. Why? Why are these people employed on a party political basis being paid public money just to bugger off? Let's have a look. Now, the SNP are always pleading for more money. They never have enough money. They've got a £1 billion black hole. Westminster aren't giving them enough money. Blah, 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 blah. All this thing. So we've got so little money. We can't do this. We haven't got enough funds. Strange then that they got the money to piss away on Spads. So SNP Spin Doctors received more than £200,000 in golden goodbyes in 2023 as Humza Yousaf rung some tiny changes. Tiny and yet so expensive. The First Minister kept most of Nicola Sturgeon's special advisors when he took over, but he did pay out more than £200,000 to key names such as Liz Lloyd and Stuart Nicholson. Now, of course, the reason, like I say, they have these advisors is because they themselves are morons. But given even that they're morons and then they're doing the things that they're advised to do, goes to show that the special advisors are more special educational needs than special advisors. Because if this is the best they can do, that isn't good enough either, is it? But why are they having them at all? If they need a political sort of person, they should be paying that out of their own pocket. Out of their own, they want to provide this wage. They should be paying the wage, not the public. We didn't elect these people into positions. We didn't elect Liz Lloyd into a position. We didn't let any of these Spads into positions. So why are we paying for them? Why is that money coming from public money to them? If they want that job, they hang a plaque up on their wall. They advertise their services and whoever needs them pays for them. Right? And that's it. And if you are a moron who somehow found yourself in government and needs a political advisor, fine. You pay for it. Anyway, the Scottish Government forked out more than £200,000 this year as part of golden goodbyes to departing Spads, including Sturgeon's fixer, Liz Lloyd, who we talked about yesterday. These payments were handed out to 8 senior spin doctors to SNP ministers once Humza Yousaf took over as First Minister. When a new politician takes over at Bute House, it usually leads to a changing of the guard of both cabinet members and those who are paid to advise them. If these people are incapable of being ministers without having people to advise them, why are you making them ministers in the first place? What you're saying is, yeah, you have to have, I'll make you the minister, but because you're so talentless and stupid, you have to hire someone to help you. Then I should think maybe I shouldn't be putting you in that position of power to begin with. If you're too stupid that you need to have these people, I think you must be too stupid to be the minister. And then let's only employ people at ministerial level, who are clever. But of course, this is the SNP. None of them are clever. They're all dim. They're all imbeciles. They're all morons. They're all nearly as stupid as the people who vote for them. Anyway, Stuart Nicholson, a former Daily Mail reporter who joined the government in 2008, was the most high-profile departure as he was Sturgeon's head of communications and a key point of contact with the media. He was basically your Malcolm Tucker, only less charming. He ruled over the weekly Post FMQ's media briefing, fixing and spinning everything that was said and correcting all the mistakes when the idiots opened their mouths and let the crap come out. The former First Minister's right-hand woman and fixer Liz Lloyd also exited government following a furore about her helping Mr Yousaf with his SNP leadership campaign. Again, at that point, she was working for government at that point and should not have got involved in party political things. It's one of those complex relationships where she moved from a party advisor to a government advisor, even though nobody actually appointed her. She was just pushed into that role. At public expense, it must be said, without any kind of control. She'd been Miss Sturgeon's chief of staff since she replaced Alex Salmond before stepping away in 2021 to a different role, as mentioned, one in government. Net Zero advisor John McFarlane also exited government. Now, the Scottish Daily Express can reveal that in total, 8 Spads had their contract terminated following the start of Mr Yousaf's reign of error. These payments, known as golden goodbyes, total £223,897 and relate to contractual severance pay entitlement for their payment in lieu of notice. But again, their pay, everything, was out of public money. Why is it not coming out of the personal money of the MPs concerned, ministers concerned, or at least out of party funds? Why should the people be having to pay the wages of these fellas and women just because the ministers are morons? Don't allow Spads, or if you can have Spads, but Spads must be paid for by the minister or by the party, must not be paid out of public money. Anyway, 204,000 was lieu of notice and nearly 20,000 was leave accrued. They're also paid out because Spads are often required to cease work with immediate effect. Blah, blah, blah. We don't care. It's unlike civil servants who are unbiased workers. Well, I've got to call bullshit on that, because there's no way that the civil servants in Scotland are unbiased, since they're all working on independent stuff. And that is not unbiased. That is party political, not governmental. And in fact, the chief of the civil service in Westminster has said it needs to stop, and yet they aren't stopping. Therefore, unbiased, my arse. Anyway, these payments were only the second time in 5 years that Spads have been axed and were paid off using public money. In 2021, following the Holyrood election, where SNP were forced to rely on Scottish Greens to govern, 14 advisors were made redundant and handed golden goodbyes. This costed the taxpayer a whopping £459,500. So you're getting on for £750,000 severance pay over the last 3 years for these Spads. Public money. And yet the SNP are saying they haven't got any money. Well, I'm not surprised they've got no money when they're wanking it away on things like this. Let them pay for this out of SNP funds, and then you'll see the SNP fold and collapse. Either that, or the Spads will be taking a lot lower salaries. Mr Yousaf kept a number of key Sturgeon advisors when he became FM, which only boosted critics' claims that he was the continuity candidate. Nothing changes, except that the IQ dropped. Not only with him, but across the whole cabinet. This included keeping on of our Chief of Staff Colin McAllister in the same role, while finding space for the likes of Jeanette Campbell, Ewan Crawford, Davy Hutchison, Ross Inglebrigtson, Emily McIntosh and former MB Callum McCraig, all of whom are very talentless. But they've still got more talent than the ministers. The ministers are so desperate that they need these people. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Harry Hyton and Gavin Corbett, the Spads working alongside the Green ministers in the joint government, are also remaining in post. He did also hire a number of new staff. Again, all at public expense, to do the job of ministers who are being paid at public expense. Fire the ministers and just put the Spads in charge, because that's effectively what you're doing. Stop paying the minister's salary and use that money to pay the Spads. There you go. Because otherwise you don't need the Spads. If the minister's good enough, he doesn't need a Spad. And if the minister needs a Spad, it's because he's not good enough. QED. Get rid of the ministers, just pay the Spads. There you go. Jobs are good. What a load of old crap. And why is it so expensive? No wonder he's got that smug little look on his face. Jobs for the boys, isn't it, mate? Jobs for the boys. Get them in. Give them 100,000 a year. Public money. Nobody cares. What a fix. They're all somebody's wives and husbands and chums, aren't they? It's a criminal organisation. Anyway, going to come up. There you go then. More money wasted, thrown away on these talentless fools. All because the ministers themselves are too stupid to do their own job. And so they have to hire people in to do the job of the ministers. Why? Why do we do this? Why do we have such a system that promotes the stupid? That promotes the morons and gives them power and authority? Let's promote the wise, the clever, the intelligent, the experienced. People who have actually been out there in the real world and had a job. Maybe we should make it a rule that no politician can become a politician till they've done at least 20 years at a real job. You know, and that way they might have an understanding of what it is to do and to make these wise decisions. No one under 40 should be a politician perhaps. Something like that. You've got to have enough life experience before you start pontificating on others. Look at Ross Greer. Straight out of school, failed his university degree, becomes an MSP, is given sort of authority and say, never done a day's work in his life, doesn't know sod all about anything, and yet feels that he can sit and tell us how we should live our lives. What a funny little man he is. But they're all like that. And the ones that aren't like Ross Greer are just morons. There's very few out there that have actually had a real job. I mean, you can respect them if they have. Hamza Yousaf, wow, worked in a call centre. That was it. What does he know? Nothing. And he's a moron. They're all morons. Anyway, I shall stop because it's just gets you down when you see things like this. And they're just wasting all this public money on other morons. They shouldn't be allowed to breed. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, they're all morons. Bye.